So for a while my kids have been coding in something called Scratch. And when I say for a while, we're talking a number of years now, and they absolutely love it. It's not quite the coding I expect because it's more of a drag and drop interface, but there is apparently underlying code behind those blocks. So I thought it was about time that I loaded up Scratch myself to see what I could do. So first things first, there is this graphical ID and you do have these blocks. So conveniently, there are quite a number of systems that use something similar. In fact, I think they're probably based on the same code base, so that these should appear somewhat familiar. And you have to start tying them up to events. So you can see if I click here on the bottom here, it says sprite 1, and then that sprite flashes. That's going to be our main character for now. And we're just looking through here to see control, like to see if we can add key press. Motion. So motion, that's good. So we want that to move. Great. But we want it to move as a reaction to a key press event. So control sensing. Here we go. Look, when the key something is pressed, we need to wrap that up with some logic. Here we go. If we're going to do it to the D key on the keyboard. If D is pressed, then move 10 steps. How about that? Does that work? Nope. Do we have to have it triggered by a start event? Nope. Or maybe we do, but we have to have it looping in a while, perhaps. So let's see if we can find a while loop. Repeat forever. How do we detach that? Okay, so forever, start the program, and then forever loop around. How about that? Here we go. And now I can move them off the screen. Hopefully that cat gets reset. Probably it isn't, so I'm going to drag it back. So now this move steps probably isn't quite what I want. So let's have a quick look here. Okay, so you can actually do some changes of X and Y. That's a bit more suitable. So if we change X by 10, I think you'll get the same result, but we'll just increment the X counter. So let's duplicate this. So that was the D key. So what about if we press A? So and we can say -10. Or 1 minus 100, which is not quite what we wanted. And now we hit play. Oh, look at that. Now we're cooking with gas. And we can duplicate that a couple more times. Oops, no, don't add a comment right now. We can duplicate that for up and down. W. There we go. And we're going to get rid of the X to change the Y. Let's just run it now just to check it. Yep, that's the right direction. So you could have positive and negative, so you want to make sure you get it the right way around. And S. And that could be -10. So we should have now full directional control, and we do. So I've clicked the Add Sprite button here. Now I've got this baseball. So I was trying to make it so that this cat can fire out baseballs. So we need something that does spawn them. But I'm not entirely sure on the way about people do this. So you can obviously have a second sprite here, which possibly you can make invisible. So that's what I'm going to have a look, see if you can start it off invisible. Not really many settings here. I think I've just spotted something, because you see here you have show and hide. So let's set the trigger event. When you start, hide. So let's hit start. Ooh, and it does hide. Awesome. Now we need to make an effect here where if you hit space, so I'm going to duplicate this block, and I'm going to say if space key is pressed, I want to show that sprite, but I'm not entirely sure you can do that. So maybe you have to do it from a variable. Let's have a check here. Set. rename variable. Ball visibility to 1. In fact, I don't know what the difference is between a set and a change. It's interesting, isn't it? So maybe you have to set at the beginning of your program, before the forever here, if you can figure out how all this works. There we go. Set ball visibility to 0, and then down here you're saying change ball visibility to 1. And here we want to actually put in a for loop. Forever. Repeat forever. Right, we don't really want the hide anymore. We can get rid of the hide. So we're going to say if, and then we're going to check that variable. If ball is no. How do we check something's equal? Okay, so you have these operators. Here we go. That works. That's okay, isn't it? If ball visibility equals 1, then show. Well, I do really want an else, actually, so we put in the hide. So let's see if we can do an else. Oh, we need a whole different construct for that. No. Ooh, okay. That's fine. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there is a way to see the underlying code in this. Let's run this, by the way. It briefly did flash up, but I wonder why it hid it. If ball visibility is 1, then show. Okay, so what about here? Oh, this is change ball visibility by 1. We do want it to set it then. So we do want set ball visibility to 1. Right, now we understand what that is. It's not to instantiate it, it's actually just a bit of syntactical sugar to help you. There we go, now the ball is visible. Good. So we really need to set some flags potentially to show your direction. We can do this through here. So we can make a variable called direction for all sprites, so it's global, that's fine. And we want to set direction to something, so we're going to say set direction. Now, we're going to do directions as in left, right, up, down makes sense. So 1, 2, left will be 1, right will be 2. Bear with me, it'll make sense in a second. So left, right, up is W, so that would be 3. And one more for down, which will be 4. So that should all just play out as you'd want it. Good. Also, we'd need to make that ball start off with the coordinates of your kitty cat, but we'll have to figure that out in a moment. So we've set the direction. So now if we go back to the sprite, if ball visibility is 1 and it is shown, we want it to move now in the direction. So let's see if we can figure out how we make it move. In fact, I think we did see how we make it move because it did something here about changing it, yes. But we're going to need to put a big old if block in. I wonder if we can select that from here. Oh, no, didn't seem to work. Let's try again. Duplicate it. Yeah, I don't think you can, unfortunately. Not to worry, we'll just recreate it. So I have those added now. You can see the ball is currently visible, so I've been testing it, but when I hit play, the ball should disappear. Great. So I can move the character around. Now if I hit space, that ball will reappear, but it will continue on in the direction I was last facing. So that's kind of there. We want to make that XY of that ball start though from our XY position. I have got it actually working now, and I'll show you what I did. So I went back to the cat sprite, and you can see here at the bottom I've created two variables, one called char x and one called char y, and I've added them in this set function, and I've said basically as you're moving around continuously in the forever loop, it's continuously updating these whether or not you've moved to your current x position and current y position, which you can get out of this motion. So in motion has these, I guess, global variables, or at least local variables, this global to this sprite, put it that way. So you can drop those in. So then when we go to the baseball, what I've done is every time whilst it's hidden, it's continually updating the baseball x and y to the char x and char y. Now I'm not saying this is an efficient way to do it, but it is just a way to do it. So what it means is every time you move around, or actually even when you're stood still, the invisible baseball is taking the coordinates of your main character, so that whenever you hit space, the ball will just appear, and it will appear and move in the direction that you were last pointing. So I'm going to go right, and then hit space, bang, and you could see it actually came out of the torso. Interestingly enough though, it does continue with the direction, so you can steer it. So that's something that you don't particularly want. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And to fix that, you can see I've made 4 blocks here which have if direction equals 0. So basically what I want to say is you're only updating the direction of the ball whilst there's no direction set. So as soon as a direction's set, your controls on the cat will no longer affect the, should we call it the projectile? I think that sounds a bit more technical. The projectile. Generally though, if you're doing this properly, the projectile would be in a class of its own and have its own well-being, but we're controlling a lot from the cat right now. But I think that's a scratchy way to do it. If I was my kids, for example, I think this is how I'd be doing it, so we will emulate that. So now we can move around. I'm going to stop and start again so you can see the ball come out. We're not seeing our ball coming out, and that's probably because we have to set the direction here to 0 at the beginning. So we have to make sure when you start the program all your variables are reset. Something sensible. Come on, where's our ball gone? I made a bit of a boo-boo. That's okay, we'll fix that. Which one's missing? Here we go, the W. Must pay more attention. Yeah, look at that. So the ball is zooming around by itself, which is great. I think there's a point where the ball just has to kind of stop. It does seem to stop at the edge of the playfield. I kind of assumed it would just keep going. Let's fire it to the right. Yeah, you can see when its centroid gets to the edge of the playfield, it just parks itself there. There may well be a way to find that. And if it happens, here we go, if on edge, you see here, if on edge, bounce. Which I quite like, but I would like an if on edge do something. So let's see if we can look out for that. Backdrop, ASIN. Look here, there is something where it says touching. Let's try this. So it's an if block, so I'm going to put that there. And we need to put an if in. So let's get our if. And we're going to put it underneath this lot. If touching the edge, if you're touching the edge, then we're going to set the visibility to 0. Here we go. We're going to set the visibility to 0, And we're going to set the ball direction, which we call direction, also to 0. So that should now do the trick. Hooray! Oh, okay, well, that was weird. I'm not entirely sure down is working as expected, but that's okay. So direction 1, direction 2, good. Direction 3 and direction 4. Yeah, so we need a default direction, I think, otherwise the ball just doesn't move. So let's have a look here. So we have a, if direction equals 1, I think we can put all of that into another if, basically, and we could say if. Oh, hello. We have to split some of these up somehow. So those were in the forever chunk, so I want to split that up here. No, I don't. I want to take everything out after the show. Okay, that works, that works. Pop that in, and then we're going to say if the direction is not equal to 0. We want a not equal, actually. Let's get that out. Is there an inequality? Not. There is a not. If not direction equals 0. Yeah, that makes sense. I think little kids will like that. Okay. So we're moving around. We fired the ball. Yeah, I'm not quite sure I want that to happen. And I was getting all in a kerfuffle because we were putting it really in the wrong place, because it should be down here in the thing that creates the ball, which is the space key, isn't it? So let's wrap that in there instead. So if we put that there, we put that there, pop that back there. So we're going to say if the direction, I'm just seeing if we can borrow something here, we can duplicate that. And in fact, we can just put that there, we can bin that one, and there we go. So if the direction is 0, no, that's not what we want. If the direction is not 0. Oh, what has gone on here? There we go. Now, yeah, see, it's not doing anything. Now when I move, though, it is. And if I stand still, it doesn't do anything. Yes, that's perfect now. The next stage is, of course, to add a bad guy. So let's choose a bad guy. What would you be chucking a ball at? How about a batter? Woohoo, look at that. And that's going to be your bad guy. So I'm going to move my cat around and go boom. Oop, no. Yeah. That's kind of what we want to happen. So we did see that there was a touching thing. So let's see what happens here. There was a sense. I'm going to start with that block to refresh everything. And we're going to have a forever while we're here. Checking. Sensing. If. Oh, yeah, we want that. We want to have an if block, don't we? If touching baseball, can we play a sound? Play a sound, and it says play pop. Oh, we can record a sound, can we? Strike one! How about that? That sounds pretty good. Strike one! Strike one! And that's pretty much all of my baseball knowledge. We'll call it strike one. Good, I like this. So it should play strike one.
Strike one!
I did hear it eventually.
Strike one!
Yeah! That's nice. However, I think in baseball you have multiple strikes, so we do need to have a strike counter, don't we? Let's create a new variable called strike counter. And that really only needs to be for the sprite, I guess, but it doesn't matter. How do we increment? We had something here with motion. That's not what we want. We can set. We can set using change. Here we go. Change strike counter by 1, and then we can say if. I'm going to pop an if in here. Getting this the right way around. And then we're going to say if strike counter equals 1, then strike 1. And then we can duplicate that. Or if the strike counter is 2, it's going to say strike 2. And if the strike counter equals 3. Right, now we're going to have to record. Okay, ready? Strike 2! It's going to save it. I'm not even going to listen to it. It's going to be fantastic. And then, oops, we have to set this though, don't we? Oh, is it just called recording 1? Oops. Strike 3, you're out! And I will call this strike 3, so we don't forget. And we do have this one, and we'll call it strike 2. And let's see if Scratch updates the code. It does, so that's nicely. And then that'll be the game over. Let's see if it works. Oops.
Strike 3, you're out!
Whoa! What happened there? hang on a minute. Right. First, lots of things have to happen. That's why it basically cascaded through these. I believe it cascaded through these, but what we have to do, so for example, once you've gone through this whole strike chain, because you've touched it, you have to go through here, and you probably need to set the ball visibility to 0. So you want to reset the whole ball to make sure it disappears before touching it at the edge of the screen. So that's a good thing. So let's try that first. Yeah, look, see there? Bang. And what we need to do, when we restart the program, we want to make sure the strike counter is 0. And actually also, we want to make sure the strike counter is 0 after you've had your third strike.
Strike 1! Strike 2! Strike 3, you're out!
That's pretty fantastic. So I think this game though is a little bit boring unless though the main character moves around. So let's see if there's a way to conveniently move that character. And in fact it's staring us right in the eyeballs here. Look, go to random position. So how about after each strike that character moves around a bit. Boom. That's it now. Is it that easy? Have we made a game?
Strike 1!
Whoa, hello, hang on. We can run full screen.
Strike 2! Strike 3, you're out!
Oh, that's it. Fantastic. So I think I've successfully made my first Scratch game, and I'll have to figure out how to save that. Now, something I did notice though, I'm pretty sure there was a way to actually read the code itself. I'm going to have to search through this at some point. Oh, hang on, choose a backdrop. Baseball. Look at that. Look at that. This is looking like a proper game. Because you could read, I think it was JavaScript behind all of this. If you do know the answer for that, please let me know down below how to witness that. But let's have one last game. Yeah, that probably wants to limit where these characters can be.
Strike one.
Why is it doing that? Oh.
Strike two.
A weird thing though, where you probably want a separate variable to keep your
Strike three. You're out.
your ball's direction in, so you don't have to have that issue. There we go. Well, hopefully that's been of some use to you. Please share your games with me or your version of this game. I will definitely try to share it. If I can, I'll leave it down below in the comments. Thank you for watching.